Hi there, I am Bethany Londyn, founder of healthAddiKt and the Mainstream Mission, where we are taking the alternative out of alternative care. We are looking to raise consciousness around health and well-being, and we're bringing to you stories from different people that have different backgrounds, whether it's a doctor or fitness expert or someone that's cured themselves through stretching. There are so many different unique and alternative methods that people aren't even aware of. And so we're here to share that journey with you. And I'm so excited that you've come to listen. And please share if this supports you with your people, because everyone deserves to hear these amazing messages of people taking on their health. So, thank you again. Hello, I am Bethany Londyn here with healthAddiKt and Lauren Clayton, an intuitive, integrative practitioner. You can call her a health and wellness consultant as well, and she's super powerful on so many levels. So yes, hi.
Hi.
Thanks for being here with me today.
Thanks for having me, Bethany.
You're welcome. So I thought we would touch base on basically Lauren's history, where she got to and where she is now, and then touch back on the podcast from last week because she has some thoughts on it which I think are very powerful, and then moving into nutrition and the whole mind-body connection.
Sure.
So yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. Well, I started off as a therapist. I've always been into psychology, and at the time I was working with people that just got out of federal prison for drug-related offenses, and I was doing psychotherapy with them. And I just kind of got burnt out on that and decided to transition. And when I was figuring that out, I realized that a lot of people, their psychological disorders or slants on things were nutrition related, or there was a nutrition component that was definitely contributing to their dis-ease. So
In jail.
In jail or out of jail, and
Interesting.
Yeah. So, or even like with the white collar crime and their alcohol, drug, I was just noticing a lot of patterns. Mm-hmm. And I really wanted to focus more on that and empower people to eat so they are, helping their, not just their body, but, their mind be optimal. So I developed my private practice, my private integrative practice, where I integrate nutrition and psychology and show people how, some of the deficits they have in their relationship with food, how to improve their relationship with food, and how nutrition can help your mental health, your overall state, your vibration, all of that.
I love it. So last week we had somebody on, and the week before we had two people on, and it was all about strength training and how that was going to support our nervous system and then prevent disease. But I loved what they talked about because it was about going into a workout not to basically raise your cortisol levels, but to do it in a way that's like supportive of your body. You ground yourself, you put intention into it, and I know that's all right up your alley. And I know people, myself included, like when I did CrossFit for 3.5 years straight, I gained 15 pounds, and I had been working out already before that, like twice a day.
Yeah.
So going into CrossFit, and yeah, it's just interesting. And I know some other people that they just work out all the time, and you're like, really? I can't tell.
Yeah. So if you work out too much, you're definitely taxing your adrenals, which helps or promotes a lot of water retention, weight gain. Your insulin levels are all off, and your body's saying, store more fat, because you're in this constant flight or fight mode. And I do like what your, I forget his name, was saying about going into it with basically not being in a place of resistance. It's just like anything else in life. If you're stressed out about something, you're in a place of resistance, you're not going to get an optimal result.
Yeah.
But if you're literally in the flow and working with your energy, you can get better results on the gym floor, in life, whatever facet of anything that you're trying to get you. So that makes sense.
Yeah. And on eating, going into nutrition, I've heard that, so let's say you have a piece of cake in front of you, and you eat the cake, and then you feel guilty. Well, you're automatically increasing your insulin and cortisol levels just by having that thought.
Yes.
And versus, I'm going to enjoy this cake, and my body is going to take care of it, and just trust that it is.
Right.
And yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So just like we were talking about before, when you set the intention that you're going to have an experience that's full of joy, then you create more joy, right? Energy feeds off of energy. So if you go into it, and a lot of people like to even bless their food, so they're infusing whatever it is with lots of joy, and then you put that in your body, and then you're just giving it right back out. And people, actually I tell people to do that a lot, and they don't gain that, pound or two from having their dessert once a week, because, you know what I mean? Because they're not like, I gotta go to the gym, and I gotta do 500 calories on the stair. None of that happens,
right.
So you're not creating that reality. So.
Which, by the way, is how I was raised.
Of course. I was raised that way.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I need to go work out now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't eat that. Get fat.
Don't eat that. No, my mom eats. She'll eat, but then she has to go work out afterwards. And she's probably going to listen to this and love that I just said that. So anyway, that's my family. So how do you work with people, your clients?
It depends on the issue. I have kind of 3 major types of clients. So I have clients that have eating disorders, and I have clients that are just regular people that come to me that are in crisis, so it's more of like life coaching, mental health coaching, if you will. And then I have my yoga clients. But so in my consulting work with my eating disorder clients, we're talking about their relationship with food, how it got established. Maybe that's why you brought up your mom. It's nice, but I mean, we all have our relationship with food, and it comes from our parents, especially our mothers. Our mothers are kind of like the archetype for nurturing, and they usually make the food and all of that. So those patterns get established really young, and it totally has everything to do with our parental system, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll work with them and just kind of rewiring patterns with food and things like that, and the relationship with exercise and their body. So it's internal, and then the last thing, the kind of almost byproduct, is weight loss or whatever they're trying to get to, or
so
just
that just
stable
happens
weight.
Naturally, almost, because you're focusing on like the foundation.
Yes.
The issues.
Yes.
Love it.
Yeah, everything food related is so much about, how we think of it and how we even spiritually connect with it. So you have to do that work first for real substantial change to happen, I think.
I'm still kind of caught up on this whole working with in the first job, working in therapy and seeing patterns that related to food. Can you give an example?
Oh, yes, I can. So, I work in this, and it might be just prison life, I don't know, low income type of living, but I would come in to work, just walk through the lobby, people have their huge, big gulps full of soda and Cheetos for breakfast. And they're depressed. And they're, and then I'm like, well, what are you eating? And it's just like that, and then like some the Hostess cupcakes for a snack, and just high sugar, high insulin processed foods all day. Now they already have a lot of other contributing factors, but the food is definitely having a lot to do with it. Not to mention the fact that what you eat, I think, says a lot about you and how you feel about yourself. And so whether it's because you can't afford something better, or that another like piece of sugar is going to just give you that like temporary high, it's all interrelated. And so I was working with some of the judges to just try to get them to have like a little bit of like an allowance to just eat a little bit better, but it was just...
Would they really use an allowance to eat better?
Exactly. What's the point? They got transportation allowance, and I think it went to other causes. So, yes. But it was really on my mind and really bothered me.
Got it. I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So So food, stress, and intuition.
Okay. How do they go together?
So Lauren is highly intuitive. So when she's working with her clients, she might meditate on them, let's say. And through that, she's able to support them as well and get maybe some of the stuff. Because a lot of us, when, let's say there is an issue with food and why we eat more candy or sugar or whatever it is, 20 meals a day versus 3 or 4,
Right.
that she might be able to pick up on the stuff that people aren't willing to say,
Right.
which is awesome.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of shame around stuff like that, and
Yes.
so, you know, I don't just put them on blast and be like, you know what, you're not telling me, but you know, I can just feel into their energy and know. In I guess like psychic or intuitive realms, it's called like blending with someone. So just kind of going into their space and feeling through their body to see where they might be holding pain, and that pain is usually, you know, attached to some kind of trauma that happened in the past anyway that they're trying to cover up with food in the first place.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to come from a place of non-judgment, and I just kind of ease it in there that, you know what, it's okay, just allowing space for it to be, like, it's okay if you have used food in this way. It seems like it's not serving you anymore, so would you like to create an alternative route or, you know, a healing there? So that's how I would go about it. I'm not just like, bitch, I know you had those donuts. I'm not like that or anything, so.
That's funny. Okay, cool. So you're working with a client. It sounds like it's very much a psychological experience. I mean, are you working with them to create a food plan?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
About that, yeah.
Is there like, let's say, generic food plan that you work?
No.
It's very different.
It's very different. I really like to highly customize any type of food plan that I do with clients because everyone's lifestyle is so different and their allergies and what they like and don't like. There's no real way to do a general food plan. And it's always, my thing about food plans, that's the easy part. They're easy to put together, they're kind of fun or whatever, but just like almost everyone, including me, that's been on a food plan, you don't stick to it. So it's kind of like, here's the food plan, let's talk about why you're not going to stick to this. So, and you know,
it's true.
Yeah. So, and then we can break down those layers, the psychological layers, the energetic, all of those layers. Then we go back to the food plan. You know, we work within both, like in tandem. But I kind of think it defeats the purpose. You could go on the internet and find any food plan.
True.
It's just about, you know, the actual follow through.
Right.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, now let's discuss why you are not going to stick to this.
Yeah.
Figure that out. Oh, funny. Let's talk about the intolerances because that is everywhere nowadays.
Yes.
Do you have people do tests? I mean, I know so many people that they are intolerant and they don't care. You know,
Yes.
they continue to eat. So, what are your thoughts around all the different diets like paleo, vegan, all of that in relation to intolerances and
Well, I think I'm glad that there's more awareness around intolerances because, you know, all the inflammation is a form of intolerance, and when it bioaccumulates in your body, then it becomes a really bad intolerance or a disease. So a digestive disorder. So I'm glad there's more awareness around it, like I just said. I think that it could be like taken to extremes sometimes. But I also see when a lot of people clear up a lot of the psychology they have around food, and they get rid of a lot of the inflammation from stress and like from just even judging themselves and being stressed out about being on a diet and calories and like all of those, a lot of those intolerances go away. It's like, oh, I could eat dairy now. Oh yeah, it doesn't hurt my stomach
Really?
to blah blah. Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm a big believer in healing your body, like through your mind and energy and tension, and I've done it myself a million times, and I've taught my clients how to do it. So I'm not big into tests. because it's kind of like, yeah, the test is going to come back that you're allergic to shit and that your adrenals are, busted. Like, I could look at you and know that. And, I don't think it's necessary to spend a lot of money taking tests and, letting time go by. And then I also use my intuition to do that too. Like, to go in and say, okay, yeah, that food doesn't go well with you. And, so I could figure that out on my own. And I like to empower my client to figure that out and just, kind of center in their body and figure it out, because it's not like rocket science, and I really don't think it's that necessary to you can eliminate stuff if you're really like clueless about.
Do you eliminate stuff?
I mean, an elimination diet, if you're looking for an allergy,
right?
That's the easiest and actually most accurate way to do it.
Do you have things that you don't eat?
I don't eat a lot of grains.
You don't eat?
They just don't vibe with me. They typically...
Like grains, so like wheat, also rice.
I eat a little bit of rice every once in a while. It just doesn't vibe with me, and it creates a lot of inflammation and water retention for me. So personally, I just stay away from that. But besides that, I'm a very open eater.
Open eater?
Yes. Very, yeah.
I'm sure her open eating is much healthier than my open eating. Actually, I'm not open. I'm more paleo.
I'm more paleo, like ketogenic slant on things in general.
Okay. So walk us through like a day of food with Lauren Clayton.
Get up, I'll have some espresso, typically do like a fasted cardio type of workout, come back, have some eggs, just some kind of
like
protein.
Regular eggs?
Yeah, scramble them. I like to put MCT oil in my eggs sometimes with coconut oil.
Bulletproof.
Yeah, bulletproof eggs. And then just a ton of water, salad, something like that for like a big salad. It's typically a lunch I like to have, and then I get really creative with dinner. I get like all into my like low carb, like my low carb pizza that we were talking about.
Yes, I'm dying to have this pizza. Maybe we should tag it in the show notes.
Yes, I'll give you the recipe.
Amazing. Okay.
Yeah. And there's a couple different variations of it. Like you could do zucchini, cauliflower. You could even just do it with like cream cheese and like different cheeses. Oh, but you can eat cheese.
I don't do that dairy.
Yeah.
I'll just taste it every once in a while.
Okay, I'll have to figure out a non-dairy one for you then. That'll be a fun little
Well, they do
challenge.
the non-dairy cheeses now.
You like them?
They're definitely.
They're so good.
Definitely an alternative. But yeah.
Wait, so how? Okay, the top of the fucking pizza. How are you gonna eat it? Do you eat a pizza without
They make
cheese?
pizza with fake cheese, or you just make it with like marinara sauce and like artichoke and I do goat cheese.
You can do goat cheese?
I can do goat.
Okay, good.
But I don't know, maybe some of the listeners don't do dairy. But yeah,
I feel bad for them. I'm just kidding.
You guys gotta learn to mentally heal yourself.
Yes.
And I don't know, are you able to give any tips on that?
Well, so any type of illness that you have, you create a belief system around, right? It's like, and then you start to identify with it. I am this way. I cannot, blah, blah, blah.
I can't have dairy. I can't have dairy. I can't have dairy.
Right. And then you reinforce the belief, and your body says, okay, sure. Your mind is just record, and then it'll, you know what I mean? And really, a lot of times with dairy, we get dairy allergies because we're eating too much of the low-fat dairy, the dairy that's been like stripped
super processed.
Yeah, and you have to eat full-fat dairy, or it will create certain allergies.
So if you were to get a latte, do you get a whole milk?
Whole milk, for sure. And I never do anything like low-fat.
I do almond or coconut.
Yeah. Well, now, but like coconut's okay sometimes.
I know soy and coconut are now like mass-produced, obviously, so it's
soy is
stripping
horrible.
it.
Yeah.
Tell us why soy is bad. Soy is bad.
Soy is bad.
I mean, it's good. Are we reinforcing that it's negative right now by saying that?
Well, I just still think, here's the thing. Well, we could even go philosophical and say negative is a judgment, which it technically is, but soy is something that does not serve the human body. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Neither does drinking arsenic, right? So it's like there are certain things that don't serve the human body.
Yeah.
And I believe and know that soy is one of them because it is a synthetic hormone that you're putting. If you were to eat soy just from the ground, it's poison. You know, it has to be highly processed.
Really?
Yes. It has to be highly processed and like, you know, what's it called? Like washed with like different alcohols and like all this to even just get it to be edamame to eat, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then another layer of processing for soy milk and soy cheese and all these like awful sounding things that, you know, like, just kidding. But so it is really, you know, it's just toxic. And, you know, they've done studies about men consuming soy, like replacing soy products with certain things and, you know, having higher estrogen development and their brains shrinking because of it, because, you know, their brains are supposed to be.
What about women who are lowering their estrogen levels as they get older?
Right. So that's not a good form of estrogen.
That's not going to be
Get estrogen from spinach.
Really?
Yeah, it's a natural form of estrogen. Get it from spinach. You don't have to process it and like do a bunch of stuff to it. There's leafy greens are like amazing for that. So why do that?
Okay, so whoever marketed and advertised soy has made us believe that that's the place to get. Okay.
Exactly. So so much of the food industry is about marketing and, you know, whatever government is subsidizing, so we make money off of it. And it's super frustrating for me. It's actually an element of what I do with clients is educating them on
re-educating.
Yes, about what's going on. Like the same thing with bananas. Bananas kill me. Bananas actually have a really fascinating.
I love bananas.
Why do you love bananas? I like them.
You can make ice cream out of them.
You can make daiquiris out of them, which are good. But like, I don't. I still don't think they're good for you. That's the only time I like a banana. But so they have a really fascinating history of how they got here and stuff. But it's basically because they're cheap, and then they are. I forgot what fucking jungle they came from, but they came from outside the world, and then when they were brought here, they're brought here as this exotic fruit that has all this potassium, and you could feed it to your babies and all this stuff, which is true. It actually doesn't have that much potassium. It has more sugar and starch than an oatmeal cookie, you know?
What?
Yeah. And so it's kind of like, it's just too sugary, especially the more brown they get. So it's like, why?
Banana bread is so good.
It's delicious. Banana bread's delicious. It's just full of starch and sugar. So it's sad too.
Oh, and you can whiten your teeth with the banana peels.
And mosquito bites.
Oh, and mosquito bites too, I forgot.
Yeah, for the peel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't eat it. Sorry.
Ah!
That's just my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah. I know you're mourning the banana.
My banana routine. I haven't had a banana in a really long time, actually.
That's good.
I've been doing Ayurvedic.
Oh, nice. How's that going?
I feel like I've never eaten so many carbs in my life.
Okay.
So I'm slowly shifting out of it. But yeah.
I think it's interesting. I definitely like the philosophy of Ayurveda and Ayurvedic medicine. Yeah, when I started doing yoga, that was obviously a big part of like my yoga training. They teach you about it, and I think there's some truth to it. It's just like the systems, like the mesomorph, the ectomorph, and the endomorph. You know, have the three different bodies, and I forget what the doshas.
Is that Ayurvedic?
Well, the Ayurvedic custom is the dosha, Pitta, Vata, and Kapha.
Kapha, yeah.
Yeah. And so I think most people are a blend of two, at least two.
Yes.
So, but it's interesting. Yeah.
It's interesting. Okay, so some takeaways for today. What like 3 things would you give to people that are listening today to basically get their health in order through nutrition?
Through nutrition. Well,
since you were saying it was like a foundation of so much.
Yes. Well, the very first thing is to eliminate processed foods. I think that's like a super basic thing to do because they affect your brain chemistry so much.
Yeah.
You know, especially in our country, it's allowed to, or we're allowed to hire certain chemists to make certain chemicals that alter your brain chemistry to become addicted to certain foods. They end up also making you depressed and not sleep well. So that's the very first thing that I think is super important.
And they have those symbols now for genetically modified
Yeah, the GMOs, but there's other sneakier, you know what I mean?
There's always something.
So it's just the more you can eat naturally and organically is the best, I think.
Like the Whole30?
The Whole30?
That's like everything whole. Like it could be sweet potato, carrot, just anything that's real.
Yes. Yes, real food.
Real food. So rice would not be considered real.
Right.
It was formed.
Right. Or it's just, it has to be processed so much, right? You can't just pick rice out of the ground and eat it. It's also toxic. And actually, rice in large forms is toxic. Because it's high levels of arsenic. So,
I haven't read the China study. I wanted to read that.
Well, that's kind of manipulated, but people have a lot to say about that, like back and forth. But and then another thing I would say, and just because your mindset is so important when you're doing anything in life, is to have a good working relationship with food and love food, and food will love you back, and food is not the enemy. And coming from that mindset, like, oh my God, the carbs, and then my carb count or my calorie count, like I never have my clients even do calories or anything like that, and really taking any negative charge off of food and exercise too. You should be enjoying your body and the things you put in it and how you move it around, and really just having like this immense sense of joy, I think, is really, really important.
So ground yourself in joy and the food in joy, so you're joyous and ingesting joy.
Yes. Yeah. And you're just creating good vibes around it all.
Can't wait to eat.
Yay!
Can't wait to eat and infuse my food with joy. So do you like say a prayer before you eat?
I guess. I mean, I definitely first express gratitude, and then I don't know if it's not as much physical words after that, but I think about my heart space opening, and I just send my food love, and I feel really thankful for having the experience of being able to eat what I'm eating, and I'm really present when I eat. I used to have a bad habit of like checking my email while I'm eating something. I do not do that anymore at all, which is, you know what I mean? But you're on.
Well, that's an Ayurvedic thing too, and I was informed to eat and then sit there for another 3 minutes. It's so difficult.
Yeah.
I've made it difficult, obviously, but I mean, if you're by yourself and you're not eating with somebody, right? You want me to just sit there and eat by myself in quiet?
Yeah. And then after, just like
tell you it's hard.
Yeah. And then feel it like going through your body and making you healthy and radiant and all of that. But it is really, that's not a Western way of eating. Shove the sandwich down your mouth while you're walking down the street or in your car or something. So it's a new way of eating and thinking.
Yeah. All right. Was that 3?
No. And then the third one, I think, I actually forgot the question, but like tips or advice I'd have is to really, to develop a meditation practice. It's become like, I just constantly see how important it is to have a meditation practice, and I've been for the past year I've been telling all my clients to meditate, and it's just the shift in consciousness that it creates on all levels. I could see it in their work, their body, their relationships with their spouse. It's just so important. Their relationship with food. So
how long do you have them meditate for?
If they're new to it, maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then
you just have them like sit in silence?
No, I'll guide them through a protocol based on what they are needing. So, because there's different types of meditation.
There's so many types, yeah.
Yeah, there's so many types, and I try to find one, and I'll intuitively find one that serves them the best, and then have them do that one. And then they've all like grown and like love meditation. Meditation is like, at first it's difficult, and then it's like I can't wait to meditate. I mean, I just love it because it's just having this like energetic cleansing, if you will. So that would be my third one.
That's the third one. Awesome. Well, hopefully you guys learned something today. Send that food some joy. Send that food some joy so you can bring more joy into your life, always. What's better than that, really?
Nothing.
And where can people find you?
My website is The Scoop on Total Health. My Instagram is The Scoop on Total Health.
The Scoop on Total Health.
Yes.
Lauren Clayton. Okay, and we'll put information in the show notes as well. Awesome.
Yay.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us. And she's going to be doing videos and whatnot coming out here as well, right?
Yeah. I'm hoping to get I am getting a podcast going.
You are getting a podcast
I'm
going.
getting a podcast going, yes.
Love it. Love it.
Thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you were as inspired as I was for that last message. So powerful, so powerful. And remember, if you have friends and family that also have powerful messages, we want to get them out. They deserve to be heard because we all learn from each other, and there are so many unique ways of healing ourselves that doctors don't even know about. I don't even know about until someone shares with me. So support the mainstream mission. Let's show everyone that there is another way, and let's crush the word alternative so that it's care. We are just being in self-care and proactive about our health, which is our wealth, and yeah, that's what it's all about here at Health Addict and the mainstream mission. So please share, and thank you so much again for joining us, and we'll talk to you on the next one. Have a beautiful and blessed day. Bye.